What's up? So we got the last episode of season 1, Prophecy Girl. This has to easily be my favorite episode of season 1. It's so well written, so well acted, so well directed. Like, the whole episode is just perfection. It really hammers home everything that you think everything that the show's going to become. You kind of see here, and it's all nailed perfectly. The characterizations, the drama, you have the supernatural aspect of the prophecy. You have all of the story elements that they've been building to this season neatly wrapped up. But you also have all these character moments. So let's just dive into it. I do love this episode. We have kind of we have Xander. You know, this whole season, Xander's been feeling Buffy. He really likes her, and he's like, this is my moment. This is my shot. And this is why a lot of people, I think, don't like him, is because the way he handles the rejection and all that stuff. And it's perfectly valid. I will point out, he's a 16-year-old guy who doesn't know how to handle his emotions. He likes this girl. He doesn't know how to tell her. He finally tells her, and she rejects him. And to be fair, Buffy rejected him very delicately. She was very sweet about it. He was kind of a dick about how he handled the rejection. Rejection is hard. It's not an easy thing to handle. But it's also hard to be the one rejecting. I think most of us at one point in our life have been on both sides of the table. Like, you get... It's not easy to ask someone out, but it's also not easy to be like, nah, not interested. Especially if you want to maintain any type of relationship with that person. And I was a little older than Xander was when I had a crush on someone I was friends with, and I expressed interest in her, and her response was, it upset her. She was like, we were friends, and you know, having feelings for me and yada yada. Our whole relationship has been portrayed as we're friends, and you jumping in and telling me that you like me, that you have a crush on me, it's a violation of the friendship that we built. If you had types of feelings for me, you should have been upfront with me from the start, and not started a friendship hiding the fact that you had feelings. And I had never really thought of it like that before. Now, there's, of course, you know, you can be friends with someone and over time those feelings grow, but that's a different issue. That's not what it was in my situation. That's not really what it was in Xander's situation. It was, I have a crush on this person, and I'm afraid to put myself out there, so I'm doing I'm being a friend till I get the courage to ask the person out. And that's what Xander was doing. And that is, to a degree, a betrayal. And I never really thought of it like that until it was explained to me in those terms. Me and that person are actually still friends to this day, so I mean, it all worked out. But she was right, and I wish that I had understood that at a younger age. He's 16 at the time. I was maybe 19, 18 at the time, something like that. But I definitely, where I'm at in my life versus when I watched the show the first time. When I watched the show the first time, I definitely understood Xander a lot better. Now, you know, in my 30s, I've dated, I've experienced things, and I'm like, yeah, he's a douchebag. He could have handled that a lot better. But I will say it was probably his first time handling rejection. He's young. The actors are in their 20s, whatever, but the characters are 15, 16 years old. They're kids. They're kids who are experiencing life for the first time. And it is astonishing to me that we don't hold other characters accountable for the same things. It just, I mean, like, we'll get to it in season 2, but Willow's reaction to Xander dating Cordelia is completely inappropriate, but nobody ever calls her out on that. That's my issue, is the hypocrisy. I don't like hypocrisy. But Xander definitely handled the rejection wrong. He definitely should have been a little more, this sucks, but it's okay. I mean, he did apologize in the moment, even like, I'm sorry, I'm not handling this well. I need some space. But he could have been a lot classier about it. How dare a 16-year-old not understand how to handle something with class? But you definitely, I think, watching it, you definitely feel for Buffy. That had to be hard. Someone who, she's very close to, one of the few people in her entire life who she's let in and who knows all of her secrets and her destiny and everything she has to deal with. And for them to then be like, hey, I'm interested in you, let's date. That had to be a betrayal to her. And I understand Xander was very much looking at it from his own point of view, but as an audience member, you can't help but feel bad for Buffy. Worse for Buffy even than you feel for Xander, because we all get rejected. Everybody on the planet's been rejected at some point. So Xander's just dealing with life, but for Buffy, that had to be a betrayal. And a betrayal at a moment where things were kind of hairy for her. I mean, at the point of this episode, she doesn't know everything that's coming, but still, it had to be hard for her, and there's definitely, you feel sympathy for her. And then Xander doubles down on his douchebaggery on this episode, because it's been clear to us, and as a guy, sometimes we are oblivious. I definitely know that in my life there have been women who have been giving me signals that they liked me and I've not seen them. My first kiss, she kissed me, and I was still, even after she kissed me, and we were cuddling when she kissed me, I was still thinking, I like her. Should I tell her I like her? How do I express that I have feelings? And then she kissed me. I was like, well, that was weird. Do you think that means she might be interested? Probably not. Yeah, there's no way. We're stupid. Guys, we're stupid. So, you can forgive Xander for not, maybe you can forgive Xander for not knowing that Willow had interest in him. But him asking Willow to go as his backup date was rude. I will say in Xander's defense, I don't think he meant it as a date. I don't think he asked Willow to the dance as a date. I think he asked her to the dance as a friend. But of course, because Willow has feelings for Xander, she took it as, I'm your backup. I don't think it was ever a date. But again, so much of this episode and the emotional stuff in the first half of the episode is all miscommunication. Nobody's on the same page, and nobody is saying the same things. Willow likes Xander. Xander doesn't like Willow. Xander likes Buffy. Buffy doesn't like Xander. And all of these misconnects of the romances cause problems in their lives. But that's life. And that's especially teenage life, And it's just something that you have to learn how to deal with and handle and move on from. And to be fair, I think they all do. But it's just, you feel for Buffy, you feel for Willow, you feel even for Xander, you feel for all of them. It's such a hard thing for all three of them. And I maintain that, you look at it and you're like, well, that was douchebaggy of Xander to ask Willow, but I honestly don't think he was asking her on a date. I think he was like, let's just go to this thing as friends. And I think Willow took it wrong, but at the same time, you can't blame Willow for taking it wrong. Because she's liked him for so long, and she's watched him pine over their other friend, and that has to be torture for her too. It just sucks all around. Yeah, we're like 10 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to the plot of the episode. just a little romance thing, but it just is heartbreaking. So last episode, Angel gave Giles the codex. So Giles has been translating and reading it, and he discovers a prophecy that the Master will rise and the Slayer will die. Jenny comes in and she starts trying to figure out what it is, and Giles blows her off, and then she makes reference that someone's been emailing her about the Anointed One. And he's like, I need you to find out everything about what they're saying because the Anointed One should be dead. I don't know what he's talking about. And she's like, you haven't told me anything. Why am I going to help you? So he breaks down and he tells her everything. He tells her all about the Buffy's the Slayer, about the Master, about the Anointed One, and we find out that the Anointed One is a kid. Well, we don't find out. They find out. We've known this since that episode. That the dude, the Owen episode, Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. We've known the Anointed One was a kid. They thought the big dude who they killed was the Anointed One. So now they find out it's a kid. Angel and Giles are trying to figure out how to change the prophecy. But it doesn't seem like there's a way. The Master will rise and the Slayer will die. And Buffy overhears them. At first she's excited to see Angel. And then she hears what they're talking about. And she breaks down. And if it doesn't make you emotional, you have no soul. She just breaks down and she's like, I'm a 16-year-old kid. Like, I want a future. I want to go to the dance. I want to live my life. I want to be me. I don't want to be part of some prophecy. And she starts crying and she takes off Angel's necklace that he gave her and throws it on the ground and she's like, I quit. And Angel's like, we'll figure something out. And she's like, I already did. Pay attention. I quit. And they're trying to get her to see that, like, you don't have a choice. It's a prophecy. You can't escape it. And she's adamant. She's like, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And it is so heartbreaking. Both Buffy just being a kid who wants to survive and wants to do things and live her life and have a future. And Giles, who has very much already taken on this kind of parental role with her. And he's like, this girl who I'm tutoring and I'm raising and I care about is going to die and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Angel, like, this woman inspired me to stop moping around and to do something with my life, to try to make a difference, to try to be better. And I can't help but have feelings for her, and she's going to die and I have to stand by and watch it happen. Like, it's devastating for all three people in the scene for different reasons. And it's all played so earnestly. It's such great writing in this episode. I love this episode. I really do. Cordelia's been dating this dude for a while, right? In the first scene, Buffy's fighting vampires and she's slaying them. Cordelia's in a car in the middle of a field making out with the dude, and she keeps hearing the fight. Like, what's going on? He's like, nothing. Calm down. Like, let's just kiss. Stop listening to outside. It's funny. So Cordelia is like happier than she's ever been. She's being nice to Willow, asking Willow for help. Her and Willow are bonding. And then her and Willow go, because they're preparing for the dance, for the homecoming dance. Her and Willow go they go to find the guy because he didn't show up where he was supposed to be with all the dance stuff. And they're looking in like, oh, they're watching cartoons. And I'm like, dude, you can see the bloody handprint on the TV. But I guess they didn't notice that. They open the door, find a dead body, scream, and everybody flips out. Well, her and Willow flip out. Like, they're devastated. Buffy's at home, kind of moping, and Joyce comes in and has one of her few good parenting moments. And she thinks that Buffy's upset because no one asked her to the dance, or the right guy didn't ask her to the dance. Buffy's trying to leave, like, Mom, let's go somewhere, let's go on vacation. Your mom's like, I have to work, we can't do that, you know that. But she's like, I saw you eyeing this dress, and she got out of the dress, and she's like, I think you should go anyways. You know, just because you don't have a date, it's not the end of the world. Like, this is what Joyce should have always been. But so often in the show, she's not. She's kind of judgy and rude and kind of dismissive of Buffy and what's going on in Buffy's life. This is one of the few instances where she's actually there. She's actually caring. She's actually trying to help her daughter and teach her and be a good guide, a good parent, loving, caring. Like, this is the Joyce I like. Not Joyce from the pilot episode, not, you know, Joyce from the Witch episode. Like, this is a good Joyce. Let's keep more of this Joyce. But she got Buffy a dress that Buffy's been eyeing, and Buffy thinks it's beautiful. And, you know, Buffy starts trying it on, and then her mom comes in and tells her the news, something happened with Willow. And Willow's Buffy goes to Willow's house, and Willow's devastated. She's broken. She's just like, I know these people. It's a room I go into all the time. They came in and they made it hers. And I think this is for the first time Willow's really understanding what they're facing and what they're up against. And it's not just, fun and games. It's not just an adventure. It's real, and it's dangerous, and it's deadly, and there are consequences. And Willow's never really seen the consequences. The closest would be, when I Robot You Jane, when she was dating Malcolm. That was kind of hairy for her. But besides that, there's been no... Oh, and then also, Xander in the Pack was kind of devastating for her. But beyond those two things, there hasn't really been a lot that Willow's had to face. These are real people she knew. I say that, and yet Jesse died. You just go forget Jesse. But that's never really touched. So those are three things that should have made it real for her. I would argue Jesse's dying should have made it real for her, but he's never mentioned. He's just completely forgotten. But this was something that was real devastating for her, real heavy for her, and it was just hard for her to wrap her head around it. And it kind of changed her outlook on what they're doing and what's going on in a way that nothing else has before. Buffy then goes to the library where Giles is getting ready to face the Master. And him and Buffy get into it. He's like, I'm not going to let you face the Master. I'm going to do it. And he's like, you just do what you're told for once, please. Like, let me do this. I'm not going to let you go. And she knocks him out. And I do love this. She tells JD, like, just come up with something. When he wakes up, tell him, I don't know, come up with something clever and pretend I said it. And then she leaves. And I think that's adorable. But Giles was trying to protect her, and she protected Giles. And I love their relationship. Their relationship is so wholesome. It's just so sweet. You can't help but love that relationship. She goes outside, and she finds the Anointed One. He pretends to be a scared little kid, and she's like, save it. I know where you are. Take me to him. And so they start going to the Master. Giles wakes up. He calls Willow and Xander, and Xander's flipping out. He's like, what the fuck? Like, you just let her go? Giles like, I got knocked out. I didn't let her do anything. And Xander's like, no, I'm going to save her. I'm not going to let her die. And he goes off. And for all the shit that Xander gets, like, he does have moments where he rises to the occasion. Like, yes, he's jealous. Yes, he's emotional. But he does also, like, he knows what is needed to be done, and he gets it done. He really does care about the people in his life. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He goes to Angel, and he basically was like, look, I don't like you. You're a vampire. I think you're a bad dude. Buffy thinks you're not. I need you to prove her right. And people write it off as jealousy, and yes, it is jealousy, of course. But also, he had to kill Jesse. Like, I know it's never referenced, but his best friend was turned into a vampire. And he was the one that killed him. And on an emotional level, that has to haunt him. Like, do we give him no pass for he had to kill his best friend who was a vampire, so maybe he's not cool with vampires? Is that so hard to understand? But Angel agrees, and him and Angel go looking for Buffy. Willow and Jenny go to the Bronze because they think that's where the Hellmouth is going to rise. Now, the first episode, we're in the school, and then we go down through the ground and see the Masters there. So they kind of tell us on episode 1 where the Hellmouth is. But Jenny starts asking, where's the Hellmouth? That's where we need to go, yada, yada, yada. And so they think because of the harvest in episode 1 that it's at the Bronze. Except they went to the Bronze because there were a lot of people there, not because it's where the Hellmouth was. So when Jenny and Willow get outside, all the vampires are coming there. And they're saved by Cordelia. Cordelia runs vampires down with the car, says, get in. And they're like, we need to get to the library. And instead of walking to the library, Cordelia drives her car through the school. And I'm like, I love it. Like, Cordelia just, out of nowhere, kind of joins the Scoobies. And Xander and Willow were like, why is Jenny here? But no one questions Cordelia helping out, which I love. Cordelia is one of my favorite characters in the whole thing. Season 1 Cordelia is kind of hard to root for. Even season 2 is not the easiest to get along with, but I love Cordelia on Angel. And I think once her and Xander start dating, I think she mellows out a lot and generally starts to become a good person. And I think that this is kind of the start of that. I think this is the first time Cordelia's doing something for others and isn't just about herself, and I think that's beautiful. So they're hiding in the library as vampires are coming, and Buffy faces off against the Master, and he kills her. He drinks from her and then drops her in a pool, and she drowns. And he tells her, like, the prophecy didn't tell you everything. The prophecy said you'll die and I rise, but the prophecy left out that I only get to rise because of you. You give me the power to escape. Basically telling her, you could have just stayed away and everything would have been fine, but you trying to be heroic is what caused your downfall, my rise, and the destruction of the earth. Luckily, Xander and Angel show up a few minutes later. Xander gives her mouth to mouth, and Buffy comes back. And somehow she's more rejuvenated than ever. And she's like, let's go kick some ass. And they go to the school. And while the Scoobies are fighting in there, Xander and Angel stalk off the hallway to protect anyone from going up to fight Buffy. And Buffy goes after the Master. And, he tries to hypnotize her again, and she's not playing it. He's like, you're dead. And she's like, I may be dead, but I'm still pretty, which is more than I can say about you, which I love. He hypnotizes her. She pretends to go along with it, and then it's like, you have fruit punch mouth. And he's like, what? And she just lays him out. And she takes back her power. Prophecy be damned. She takes it back. She stands up to him, and then she throws him through the skylight, and she kills him. He lands on something, and he turns to dust. Except because he's so old and so strong, he doesn't turn to dust. He turns to a skeleton. Like everything else turns to dust, but his skeleton remains. And they all meet back up in the library. Everyone's complimenting Buffy's dress, and they decide, you know what? Let's go to the dance. Let's have some fun. And it's just such a sweet moment. It's kind of beautiful. Everyone comes together, everyone's happy, they're all relieved. And it's a victory. And it's a well-deserved victory. I do love that. They're like, what do we do with the Master's bones? And Buffy just looks at him. He's not going anywhere. Loser. And then they walk out. It's beautiful. I don't know how it doesn't move you or touch you to watch this episode, because it's so, like I said, it's just so beautifully written. And it understands the characters and the dynamics so beautifully. And the plot gets resolved nicely, but it's the character moments that matter. And this is what storytelling can and should be. We need more stories like this. More stories that understand that the plot is not everything. That the characters are everything. That we're watching the characters, and the story is just what happens to them. And that you can't change the characters to fit the story. You have to warp the story to fit the characters. And this show does that better than most. Season 1 was beautiful. I love it. You should love it. Check it out and give us legends.